Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Real Conversation, where we talk real about love, dating, and everything in between. I'm your host, Nicole Jones,
And I'm Planetary.
and today we're getting into a topic that every single person and even couples have struggled with at the same time. You know what I mean? at, at some point. But before we get started with the show, as you guys can see, my beautiful host over there, Kwana. I love your hair, girl.
Thank you, hon. Thank you so
I
much.
love it. Oh, it looks so good on you.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. I love me a good curl. I love it.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And I love your locks because I like when you wear it crinkly like that. And I don't know what that's called, but I like it. I don't know how you do it, but it looks great. So you
Girl,
look
all
good.
I did was take out my two strand twist.
Oh, look, just as easy as that. You see?
But some girls do use like those flexi rods.
Oh yeah.
They like
Okay.
to, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see,
Yes.
rods would probably make the curl last a bit longer. What do you think?
It's about the same because when you get your hair done and you put them in, it's the same. It's basically the same.
Okay. All right. Cool,
It's the
baby.
same.
All right. Well, it looks nice. I love it, and I know hopefully we'll be able to see that style more often on the show.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Well, just like Nicole said, we do have a wonderful show lined up for you. There topics. The main topic is something that we all have thought about, so we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But first, we want to talk about the death of Doug Martin, who was, I believe, on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I believe. Nicole, you can actually go into that, but TMZ reported the initial news of his death on Saturday, October 18th, and I know they're still developing the cause of death and things of that nature, but you can go into that a little bit more.
Thank you. So basically, yes, Doug Martin is a former NFL running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The sad part is he was only 36 years old when he passed away. And like Shaquana said, they haven't disclosed, what actually took place. So at this time, we would just like to send his family, our condolences to his family and friends.
Yes, for sure. And 36 years old is such a young age to, pass away. So I know that there are conflicting reports about how he passed away. So, it is a developing story. And, once we found out additional information, we'll let you all know as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The other topic that we have in the news, there was something about the Louvre, the crown jewels at the Louvre being stolen, and I think believe in 4 minutes, they went in, stole some of the jewels, even dropped some on the way out. The jewels of I think it was a necklace or something of Napoleon the Third. The Napoleon the Third's wife actually were dropped outside. It was actually found nearby. So yeah, I mean, there's so many things up in arms. I believe, I think it was an inside job. I don't know, Nicole.
I mean, we have so many movies that basically show how this can be done. So it doesn't really have to be someone on the inside. All they had to do, according to the movies, all they have to do is go in and check the place out, see where the cameras are, see how many guards they have on staff, yada yada yada. It's a classic movie. But
And you're absolutely right because it's a popular tourist attraction as well. So many things are held there, and it gets to be so crowded. And if you don't know where the Louvre is in France. It is so crowded in there. I remember going into Italy and we were moving through the Vatican and the Sistine Chapel, and we were like sardines. Like it was just so many people in there. But also Europe has a huge pickpocketing problem as well. So, from what I know, is that what they used was like a glass cutter, like to make a circle, and then take the the jewels out. I don't know what else is going to develop from there, and but as of right now, that's what I've seen, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I don't know exactly how much they've gotten away with, but I'm pretty sure that's a developing story as well. So,
Like I said, classic movie.
right, given like Ocean's 11 and all them other ones, Ocean's 13, so many movies show us, how to, you know, potentially commit a robbery to these, high profile monuments, and what do you call them? Oh gosh, landmarks, things like that.
Yeah.
So so many show us that. So it's crazy, and I was surprised, but then again, I'm like, I'm really not surprised. So but more to come on that, right? So we'll see what's going on with that.
Oh man. So there's another thing that we need to talk about today. I came across a post that was talking about food stamps. In 2 weeks, they're not going to be able to distribute the food stamps because of the government shutdowns, which is
Mm,
crazy. You know,
crazy.
it's really crazy that this is happening. It shouldn't be happening. It's going to be so many families who are not going to be able to put food on their tables.
There was something that I read, and I can go back to it. But in regards to this, they were saying that there are too many states with high error ratios. Error ratios meaning whether or not they were underpaid or overpayments in food stamps, which a lot of states are in the red when it comes to error ratios. I believe that every state, their error ratio is supposed to be under 6%. There are states that have close to 16 or 17% error ratio. And right now, there are only, if right now the government says, okay, we're going to resume SNAP benefit payments as of November 1st, only 6 states would actually be in compliance. Six.
I mean,
That's
I mean the way they increase the amount of food when you go into the soup. These supermarkets are ridiculous. These prices are ridiculous, and so I don't know. Like for me, I don't think that it should be a cap on food stamps. It's food stamps. Everyone should be able to feed their families. If you're going in there because you need assistance, guess what? Give them assistance. I understand if you don't want to give them the cash, you want to make them go to work or whatever the case may be, but give them assistance. And for them to sit there and say that they're giving out more. Come on, there are some people that only get $57 for food stamps,
You
and there
know,
are families that get over $600 in food stamps. So I get that, but it's like the more people who's in your household is the amount, determines how much you receive in your stamps. But for one person to get between 57 to 100 something dollars, that doesn't even put a dent in how much food you can put in your freezer or your refrigerator.
yeah. I mean, you're gonna have to make supplement it elsewhere. I think that we can talk about how much we should give, but we really don't have it. We're literally broke. And if you factor in economics right now, where you have most young people not paying into Social Security, you want to know why? Because everyone is an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
No one's paying the amount of taxes that they're supposed to be paying. And in retrospect, you think, okay, this is great, they're making their own money, but they're not paying into Social Security, not paying into the government. Whereas, we're losing money. Where the projection for these benefits are based upon people paying into the government. And if
Mm-hmm.
we're not paying taxes on time, if we're not doing all those things, that after a while is a trickle effect. It's a domino effect, I should say. Something is going to affect the other, and then it's going to go down from there. Unfortunately, the poorest people actually feel the worst part of that, because they are the ones that are in need. So It's just a lot that goes into that, into calculating those benefits, as well as having the funds to actually provide those benefits. We're like in a deficit now in the trillions, and it's like, wait a minute. While we keep making money and we keep borrowing, it's we don't have enough. And we just did a story on someone who was like scamming the system. Remember, she was getting Medicaid benefits, buying Lamborghini Uruses. That also plays into the reason why certain things are exhausted, because
But
people
that's
don't.
also a reason why it's so hard for people to get it, the people who need it. But there are still people who are living, they live better than both of us.
Listen, for sure. And you know what? But that's what I'm saying. These are ratios. These are ratios that are going. These are percentages that they can't kind of take out this person or these people and say, okay, these are the ones that we have to target. Now they're working towards that, but the error ratios is what I was talking about before. The error ratios with these applications, people, there's missing information. There's missing documents that these states are really dropping the ball on, and then now a family was overpaid or even underpaid. So there's so many things that go into that. I don't believe, just like you, I don't believe that people should be without. If you're in need, you should not be without.
Yeah, because
and there's no but after that. Like, you should not go without if you're in need. There just needs to be a way for us to be able to provide without it being a detriment to the economy. But
I mean, what it is? A lot of people don't like to give a lot of things because once you ask for help, the government sits there and tries to get all up in your business. I think there's only certain things they need to know in order for what it is, so you can provide for your household. But they sit up there, like for instance, if a woman is single and she's going in to get assistance, they automatically want to put the father on child support. Now, listen, all fathers are not out there being deadbeats. They're not all deadbeats. You know what I mean? Then you got the fathers that actually do their job. They actually help out, but maybe it's just not enough. But he's still not in the house. She still needs assistance for the household.
Right, but there's two. You have two parents for a reason, and don't go get the assistance. Don't go get the assistance if you don't want to provide all the information needed. That's like you coming to me for a loan and I'm saying, okay, when you gonna pay this back? All right, okay, when you gonna do this? When you gonna do that? And you getting mad because I'm asking you questions. You need
No, it's not like that. So some people, yes, you see some people who are like that, but it's not always like that. You don't have to. They get very, very personal, and the way they tear in, it makes you feel like, dehumanized, basically. Like it's like the whole process make you feel like you are so less than just to come in here and get assistance. Maybe the person lost their job, and if you got kids, you got to make sure your kids are good. So it's not always about like the people who sit up there and want to have the finest Gucci and everything, but want to go down there and act like they ain't got nothing. You know what I mean?
Right, I get that, but what I'm saying is because you mentioned, them asking about the non-custodial parent. But they should ask about that person because you didn't have that child by yourself. Now,
I didn't say you should. I didn't say. So what I said was, if my thing is, if you give the information about the father, right? And let's say that father does help out, but it's just not enough. Not because he's not trying to give you enough, but he doesn't have enough. He's giving you what he can, right? But he's active. He is doing, because it's not always just about the money, which I have a problem with child support myself. I told you this many times. When it comes to child support, they need to make sure that these fathers or these mothers are actually interacting with the children too, because it's not just about the money. It's about the custodial parent sitting up there taking care of the child, physically, emotionally, and financially, right? So in this case, the way the system, it feels like the system tries to break these families. That's what I feel. You know, it's just my opinion. I've seen so many different situations, and I've seen these guys literally get arrested if they don't pay their child support. But what if they can't? I think there should be another way of trying to figure out how to help these people without sitting up there trying to tear them down when they're already down.
Listen, and if they can't, then they need to speak to the mother of the child and say, "Hey, listen, I can't afford this." And come to a common, to an agreement. I've had that done before. Like, okay, you know what, you can't do that. All right, let me go and see if we can do a modification. It's really about talking to one another, but sometimes it's not that simple when it comes to relationships, parental relationships, because maybe there's, strife there. Maybe there's discord. I don't know. But either way, I think that the government
I got off the topic.
straight off topic. I think the government really tries to make sure that you're exhausting all avenues before they provide money, because there's other people that may be in dire straits more so than you. And if you have someone that can provide assistance for you or your child, then they're going to make sure that you exhaust those avenues. It may be invasive. However, it's a way. It's a tool to find out what you have and how they could not exhaust their resources that could actually be given to someone else.
Well, you're right, but you're wrong at the same time. Mm-hmm. Because like, have you ever been in that situation? Have you ever gone through the system?
I've gone for SNAP benefits before, and listen, it was me and my 2 kids, and they asked me everything, and I literally got like $7. I was like, okay, all right. What am I going to do with that? I didn't feel like they were invasive. I feel like they asked me questions pertinent to my situation, and I gave them all of my information. I did not lie. I gave them my income. I did it, and you know what they said? You make enough money, supposedly, and you can only get $7. Okay, listen, this is what you say? All right, fine. What am I going to do? According to how they calculate things, that's what I was eligible for. Not the role I had to just deal.
Okay, so I've also gone through, that when you lose your job and you got to sit there and put that pride to the side because you got to take care of these kids. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Listen, I want some food stamps now. Can I get some now? I know my kids are grown, but I want some, okay? Because it helps. Everything is so expensive. But back then, it was a little tough. And just like you, I did give the information. But there are so many people that they ridicule, and it's not about giving them the information. It's about the person who's helping you process this application. That person is the one that basically, sits there and, some get good ones. Like I've had a friend that went and she had like the best experience. This person pressed the button and she got her stuff the same day. Then you get other people that got to wait 30 days, even though they're sitting there starving with their kids. You know what I mean? Some people like my friend, for instance, a friend, she basically, the person liked the way she looked. So he went and pressed that button and gave her everything that she needed. She had her whole husband at home.
But those are cases of, where we're talking about the person that you spoke to. I was speaking more so to the numbers, the facts, as to how things are actually calculated, and what is included and what's not included in that.
I get what you're saying, but that's not how they go all the time. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is just like I said, right? I'm going according to how it's supposed to be calculated. Now, how each office manages that, that's on that office. But I don't think that should be placed on the actual system per se, because it's technically not. It's a person who is really just having an abuse of power. A person abusing the power, not wanting or trying to decide whether or not you should or you should not, even if you need it. In those specific cases, they're an abuse of power. But the system is supposed to work for everyone in the way it's supposed to work, according to the numbers and the ratios that they have set in place. unfortunately, there are human beings that take that and do something else with it. But either way, I feel for those people who are going to be affected. Hopefully,
Yes.
because I believe the deadline is November 1st. Hopefully, these people are able to get their benefits, because there are plenty of people and children alike that are going to be affected by this. And I'm hoping that they can come to some sort of an agreement prior to that, so that people can get their benefits on time.
I'm hoping that if they don't, that they actually have food banks put in place for these people that need to go and get some stuff for their house.
Even that, we have a pantry at my church, and that's even stretched because they're not even giving out food. Like, the pantry doesn't even get all the stuff needed for it, because their food banks don't even have the stuff with the tariffs and things that have been placed on goods and services coming from different countries. It's a lot. So they even have been stretched thin, So and I feel like this is going to be something that is going to continue if we don't get a handle on it.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks, man. But yeah. That was I'm hoping, man, November 1st is coming up quickly. And kids are in school, and I hate to hear when you hear the people saying that the only time their child eats when they go to school, when they get a meal. I hate that. So
and then they want to use the parent. They want to sit there and put that against the parent. And granted, yes, the parents are supposed to make sure the kids eat and yada 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 yada. Yeah. But now what we need to talk about is when they can't. Now what? Yeah. What are we going to do about that? Because if a parent goes in there trying to get the things that they need so they can provide for their home, and you preventing them from doing that, now what?
Yeah.
It's a catch-22. You know what I mean?
For sure. I'm hoping that there's a quick resolution to this, because the SNAP program is 100% government funded.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that there's a resolution.
Right. I thought I can go without my glasses, but that's not the case. Okay. So that that situation that we were just talking about was a little touch and go, but let's keep on pushing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so have you ever felt like things were moving too fast or maybe too slow with someone you was dating? Today we're diving into a pace of relationships, when it works, when it hurts, and how what's right for you.
Okay, so we're talking about moving fast, or vice versa, moving fast or slow in relationships. So Nicole, what do you consider moving fast in a relationship, or slow? What do you consider?
For me, moving. A lot of people like to sit there and tell people they love you a little bit too fast. People feel that, like, granted, you can't say that the person doesn't love you, because everyone loves differently. Everyone is moved, differently by, how they feel. But I'm gonna say about my little situation years ago. I was talking to this guy, mind you, it wasn't even long, but I guess, like, the feeling that he got, from our interaction, and I'm talking about just talking on the phone, just laughing and all this other stuff. And then next thing I know, he was like, "I love you." I was like, "Whoa, hold up, pump your brakes, homeboy." What? I was like, "You don't love me." He was like,
"Love me with the love of Jesus." Okay.
He was like, "I do. I love you. I love you. I love your smile. I love your, your sense of humor. I love it." And I was like, okay. I said, "Okay, so you love me, but you're not in love with me, because you know there's a difference."
Right.
No, I don't feel like I am.
Aww.
No, bro. You're not. So I think that I think that's like when people move too fast, like everyone has to be on the same path, on the same, I'm saying it wrong, but like on the same uh wavelength, okay? Because when you move too fast, you can cause somebody to disconnect from you, you know? You know what I mean? So for me, moving too fast is someone that, they're just, quick to say I love you or want to sit there and for me that's a red flag. For me
Okay.
that's a red flag.
So
Huh?
saying I love you. Like how many months into the relationship? I mean,
Girl,
I
I said
said,
that was quick. That was like it wasn't even a relationship, but it was we were dating, and I would like to say it wasn't even a month yet. That's too
okay, so that's
fast.
an example of moving too fast.
Yeah.
Within a month, you telling someone that you love them. What do you think about moving too slow?
Moving too slow is that's a great question. Moving too slow. Okay, let's say you're with someone and everything is just what it is, but the person, like, people like to second guess so much, right? They second guess every detail of y'all situation so much that they hold back because they don't want to move too fast.
I think that too is like a trauma response. Because
Yes.
right, you've been in places and situations where you've moved extremely fast in relationships and it did not go well. So now you slowing it up to like a snail's pace. You're like, okay, give me tortoise, don't give me snail. Like, but it just depends on that person and how comfortable. Why are you laughing? It
Because
depends.
it's funny.
It just depends on that person and how comfortable they are with moving, because depending upon their last relationship and what they've experienced, they're probably like, okay, I want to make sure that this person is somebody that I can vibe with and do life with, if that's the intention, right? So
Okay.
I get
Right.
that. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You were still talking.
No, go ahead. No problem.
Oh, so I was basically trying to say, like, because I was going piggyback on what you just said, because it's also like when someone sits there and takes months to commit, or not putting, or the same thing of saying that is by saying not putting a label on your relationship. Everybody want to have an open relationship nowadays. And everybody's not in that same space, but that, that's another way of moving too slow. Um, or like emotional intimacy. That's another way of moving too slow. It's a lot of things. I guess for everybody it falls in different categories, but I think for me will be the commitment part. Because I think when you want. I think when you're dealing with somebody, when you're talking to somebody, when you want to be committed. Like, this is my person. Oh, this is my person. But the other person is just like, let's not move so fast. Like, hold up. I like you, but because they want to keep their options open.
But I don't know. I mean, in a relationship where you're communicating that, I don't think that that's an issue, because if I'm communicating with you, and we're saying, this is something that I'm trying right now. We're going to just date, and you set those clear boundaries. Okay. We're just dating right now. Are we going to see other people outside of this? Yeah. Okay, cool. So we know that if we're going to see other people outside of this, hey, are we going to be intimate with other people outside of this? It's just having those conversations, because it's necessary, one, to get to know the person, but also to see what you want out of certain relationships. Because I could be dating 5 people right now, but not sleeping with anyone, right? Because I'm just trying to get to know them. And then, you do that. It's almost like you're picking in, it's almost like trial and error, right? Like, you try to pick who's best fitted for you. And then once you pick that person, you make sure they're on the same page as you. Hey, listen, I want to put all my eggs in one basket with you for right now and see where this
Mhm.
goes. So you have that open lines of communication. Don't put your eggs in one basket and then that person is like, yeah, sorry, I ain't know. I'm still out here dating. Case in point,
Right.
I
Right.
there was a situation, not with myself, but with someone that I know.
Mhm.
And she won't be mad with me talking about this. She actually um, was in a marriage that wasn't working out well, and this is a perfect example of moving too fast. She was in a marriage with someone that wasn't working out well, and she ended up meeting someone that she really liked. They, connected, and she ended up saying, you know what, forget that. I'm going to leave this person. I'm going to leave my marriage. I'm going to get an apartment. I'm going to do this. And me and this new person are going to do life together. I'm ready for that because we have a connection over here. Another one of those grass is greener type situations. So the problem with that, though, is that she didn't speak to the person that she wanted to do life with. He wasn't on the same page with her, and it ends up being a bad situation for her. Whereas he's like, check this out, I didn't agree, I didn't agree to that, and she ended up being so heartbroken regarding it. But I'm like, if you didn't have that conversation with him, you can't expect for him to agree to what you're agreeing to. There has to be a level of communication there. When she got that Easter basket grass, she thought it was greener, but it was a fake joint. And now she gonna run back over to the guy, to her husband, like, hey, I want to work this out. He like, no. I'm like, you got to be more careful. But like stuff like that, you move too fast. You move too fast. You make sure that the thing that you want is solid before you make a move. Okay? That was the perfect example. I was like, yes, to be more careful. Mm-mm-mm.
So what she did, it was an infatuation mistaken for love.
Ooh, good. Yeah. Because obviously he was like, check this out. That's not what I signed up for. Okay. And it was almost like, go back over there to your husband because I don't want to I don't even want that commitment. I don't want that. It sucks, man. But we got to be careful. Nicole, what's going? Yeah, right
It's
over
so bad
there.
because that's like, yo, for him it was like it's basically the intentions. Like when you dealing with people, you got to know their intentions, because a miscommunication about someone's intentions can mess you all the way to freak up.
All the way up.
Oh,
Oh,
child.
it really sucks. I felt when I listened to the story, I was like, dang, that's messed up. But at the same time, the accountability. We when dealing with stuff like that, we must take accountability for our actions in that. And sometimes we make mistakes. So that was like a perfect example of moving too fast, but also not considering the variables, because a lot of times we don't consider the variables, like, you know okay, what's going to happen if this doesn't work out, or, leaving, being in a relationship with someone who has a child's mother or a child's father, right? Who's very clingy, who hasn't given up hope yet. They're keeping hope alive, you know. They are keeping hope alive, and then they try to ruin any relationship that their baby father or their baby or their child's mother has going forward. It's like, dang, y'all really trying to sabotage just so they can say, see, I told you it was better over here with me.
It's that 80-20 rule.
Oh, wow.
Ain't that to your teachers level? That
No,
80-20.
no, but in that case, you are intentionally trying to sabotage the relationship. Like, what? No, I don't want that person to meet my child. No, that person can't do this. They can't do this. No, 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 no. You make it so hard for that person to want to move on that they just be like, all right.
I mean, but when it
Really
comes to kids, I think that before you introduce your kids to anybody, you need to make sure that everything is 100% with that person as well, because
I agree
you
with that.
know kids can be, kids are really fragile, and that's your little person. You don't want to have like 200 people walking up in and out of your children's life. So, um, and I'm not saying for you to sit there and be like, now, no, my child can't be around that person. No, that's just makes no sense. But like you can sit there and be like, okay, you know what? When I finally meet a person and I feel like this person is the person, I would like you to meet them before I bring them around, the kids, before I introduce them to the kids. Have that understanding. They gotta be some, people bring their kids, people bring other people around their kids too much. And if your kids are big, it doesn't really matter. But we talk about little kids. You know what I mean? Like, because those are the ones that's most impressionable.
Mm,
And if you sit there and they see you bring in all these, like, for instance, if you have a little girl and mommy got like, how about she got like all these uncles coming by? That's how they used to do it back in the days, right? Uncle Jesse, Uncle Joe,
mm,
Uncle Freddie, Uncle everybody, right?
right.
Come
Mhm.
on. No.
Yeah. I mean, I feel it like with that, it's important definitely for you to provide that person with some additional information on, just a heads up, like, hey, listen, I would like to do XYZ. But in the instance, there's sometimes where they don't even want to do that, and it we're off topic. But
We did, but you mentioned something, so that's why we went there, and now we're going back.
yeah. So I think that moving fast or slow in relationships, I think it depends, of course, on the situation. It depends on the people involved and the open lines of communication that need to be had in order for you both to be on the same page, whether you choose to move forward or, together or move forward with other people. You got to make sure that that's a conversation. Hell, Bob. But I was like, man, you got to be more careful, man, out here in these streets, because you just cannot do things to people, right? And think that they're just gonna be sitting there waiting for you to come back.
Right.
It was a devastating thing to hear and watch. So I was like, yeah, it's
It's a
hard.
little funny because she moved too quick. I'm sorry. Your friend moved too quick and thought, listen, he like being the side dude.
Apparently,
Listen, like, there is no, like, you don't gotta do anything. You just come, do your business, and then you out. You ain't gotta pay for nothing. You ain't gotta do nothing.
wait, what?
Nothing. Just have fun. All that other stuff was with her husband.
Oh no, no, not how that goes.
He was like,
That's not how that goes.
I'm put in on this.
Yeah, he's like, check this out. Give you a few dinners or whatever, but this ain't it. I can't do this full time. The part-time lover here. It's part-time lover, okay? Here for a good time, not a long time.
Not a long time.
That's exactly what he said. So sad though. But sometimes we mistake it. Mistake the connection, and it probably was a great connection, right? However, it just sometimes wrong place, wrong time, right person. Sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Wrong time, right person. And you need to have right person, right time. And sometimes it doesn't work out like that. But who's to say what's gonna happen down the line? The only thing I didn't like was when there was a when she was actually turned down or denied by the person. She's like, oh, let me go back over here to my that's not how that works.
So you gotta know someone's intentions before you sit up there and blow up your life.
Literally, conversations need to be had, okay, so that you can know that this is a go, and then you can do whatever it is that you need to do. So
She fell in love with it. She
listen,
fell in love with it.
so
He put it
sad.
on her. He put it on her. That's what it was. She was like, "Oh, my husband don't do it like this. Well, I want to go over here.
Yeah,
I
those
want to
be
get
the
that
ones
24/7."
too. Those be the ones have your credit all messed up. Child, leave
Oh.
them alone. Leave them alone. Leave them right where they are. But somebody in
It's
agreement like
okay.
yeah.
I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah. So I just felt so. I was just like, okay, you know what? It is what it is. It happened. You move forward and you try to not make those same mistakes again, right? It's it's imperative that we do not. Some of us we repeat these cycles over and over and over and over.
Please
I
learn these cycles. Learn what you're going through so you can move on.
I've been learning so much, and I'm like, let me get off this hamster wheel. I'm out of here. I'm tired.
Right. You see them hamsters, right? You see how they just running and going nowhere.
I'm not going
Nowhere.
nowhere. So when I look at that analogy, I'm like, nah, I can't. This can't be me. I can't be doing the same thing over and over and over and over, and then expecting different results. Because where am I going? I'm not even doing a 160 or 180 or 360. I am just going around and around and around, never to stop. No, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Change behavior, man. Change behavior.
Yes, that's change behavior is what is needed, but
it brings positive results.
Yes, it does. It really does. Either that or ghost the person. You got to go. Hey. Listen,
over here tripping.
Those results will yield that will yield great results when you do. Okay, get the heck up out of there. Make like a baby and head out first.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was another episode of Real Conversation. My name is Quana Terry, and over there to my right you have
Nicole Jones.
All right, and you can find us. We premiere live every Thursday night Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. I didn't even say the time. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, and you can find us at real_combos_podcast. And then we also premiere on Facebook as well. Nicole, where can they be found? Where can we be found?
Real Conversations 2021 and Real Conversations as well.
All right, awesome. So we thank you so much for tuning in and watching us, and God bless.